financial freedom. I am so excited today to have Joe Jones here. Thank you for coming, Joe.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right, why don't you share with the audience a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your company?
So my name, like she said, is Joe Jones. Come from a military background as far as my parents go. Our company name is EJ Capital Investments, which stands for Edward Jones Capital. What we do is we have individuals that give us their capital to invest for them. We created this company for the average individual to reach financial freedom. So we started with small businesses, we got into real estate, and now we're into Forex and crypto.
Okay.
Crypto has been very rewarding because the average individual can invest with us and they don't have to learn how to trade. So that's the best part about what we do.
Fantastic. I know I'm a little confused with all the different terminology of some of the new investment options that are out there, but when you really think about investing and how that can lead to financial freedom, just share with the audience a little bit what your perspective is around financial freedom. What does it really mean to you?
Right. So when it comes to, let's just talk about when it comes to work, period. If you have to work for every dollar you make, then there's a cap to where you can go. You can only go so high. You can only do so much work in a day. So when it comes to investing, what our goal is to put your money to work for you, basically. And financial freedom, to me, it's not so much about money as it is about time. You know, being able to be wherever you want, whenever you want, but also having a little capital to make that happen. Because in life, before we do anything, we have to ask ourselves, can I afford to do this? Can I afford to go here? Do I have enough gas money to get here? Can I buy a plane ticket? Stuff like that.
Absolutely, and you don't feel as restricted when you have those options.
Right.
So I think oftentimes investing may be intimidating for those who aren't well-versed in the area. And when you think about some of the newer options that are out now and younger folks that are wanting to get involved in investing, what advice would you give them as it relates to getting started?
If you have the capital, I would say, and an opportunity is presented to you, I would say take it. Because a lot of times, you know, we have these opportunities and we let it pass us by. But if an opportunity is presented, kind of like today, you know, you got to jump on it. You know, so that would be my advice to anybody that has an opportunity to invest or whatever, especially if it's not a whole lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Never invest what you can't afford to lose.
That's great advice.
Right.
Excellent advice, because then it almost seems like gambling, right?
Exactly.
And when I spoke with you before, I asked you who your ideal client might be or who you like working with, and you shared with me that pretty much anyone that has the resources can get involved with investing. So if you could just share with the audience who some of your different types of clients may be, or just how anyone can really get involved.
Right. So our average investor is the average person, you know, working person. We're kind of like a private equity firm. The biggest difference is that with a private equity firm, you have to have a network of 250,000. With us, your network does not matter. The minimum investment is $500, and we put that money to work for you. You make about 40% on your money a month. So to give an example, if you invest $1,000, you'll make $400 a month. We do all the work. We put it into crypto arbitrage, which is buying high, selling low. So it's a very low risk investment as well.
Okay, and for those who are looking to diversify their portfolio, maybe they're a little older and they've dealt with some of the more traditional options like stocks and bonds, mutual funds. What advice would you have for them if they're new to crypto, or anyone that's new to crypto, really?
My main advice for that would be to invest with someone you trust. And also do your own research. It's so much free resources to us now that people don't take advantage of. I mean, you can literally get on YouTube and watch videos on crypto all day, or any other investment that people might be interested in. The best thing is that there's so much free resources between Google and YouTube.
And what do you think differentiates you from some of your competitors when you think about your service offerings?
I believe the main thing is that you don't have to have a certain amount of money. You know, $500 is the minimum. Your net worth doesn't matter. You know, we take your money and we make money for you, you know.
And how long does someone have to leave that money in there before they could take it out?
So the earliest you can take your money out with EJ Capital is 2 months. So the end of your second month, you can take your money out, all of it if you want to. What most of the people do that invest with us is they put their initial investment in for about 2 months, and then they take their principal out and just make money off the interest.
So is the 40% always guaranteed every month?
So we can't say it's guaranteed, but what we're investing in, crypto arbitrage, like I said, it's a low risk, and it's been doing these numbers for 2.5 years.
Wow.
Without
okay.
losing anything. Yep. So it's a safe, low risk investment. I wouldn't say any investment could be guaranteed. You know.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a really good point. And when you think about some of the entrepreneurs that are out there that are kind of looking for maybe alternative revenue streams, I know a lot of people are doing multiple, as they would call them, gigs at one time, or maybe they own a company and they're doing consulting, or maybe they're just doing a lot of different freelance jobs. How does this kind of open the door for entrepreneurs that would like to make some extra money and maybe have a little to invest?
Right. I believe this really opens the door for entrepreneurs and anybody, because you don't have to do any work now. The work is done for you. Your money is working for you. You know, with, like you were saying, with the gigs and side jobs and everything, you know, you're still working. You're still working for your capital. So with this, now your capital is working for you. You know, every dollar you put in is working for you. So that's the best thing about it, I believe.
And how does the person know where they stand? So let's say they put that $1,000 in. Is there an app, or do they get an email?
Right.
Where do they go to see how they're progressing?
Great question, great question. So on our website, they can go on there and they can see at any time where their money is, how much they've made, and everything like that. We also send out an update every 2 weeks as well.
Okay. And I just have a pretty basic question, because there are a lot of people who just really, including myself, aren't that familiar with what crypto is. What is it? If you could just simplify it for everyone, what is crypto?
So if I had to simplify it, to me, it's a cyber coin. So it's almost like your money in the bank, but with crypto, the only thing is that it fluctuates, kind of like the stock market. So if you put money into Bitcoin, it could be up 5% or down 5%. So besides that, with what we have, all we're doing is buying the crypto really and selling it really fast. So it doesn't fluctuate for us, so there's no risk to lose money there. But as far as crypto goes, I would just say it's a cyber coin where you let's just say for the United States, they have USDT. It's called USD Tether. So with USD Tether, basically it's dollar for dollar. So if you put $1 in, you basically have $1 worth of USD Tether online. Yep.
So that's a really simplified way, and I'm glad that you explained it, because it helps me understand it a lot better. And for those who are wanting to kind of compare, I know I've seen on Cash App, or I see different commercials on social media for different apps that you can use for crypto. And one thing that you mentioned is that you do the work for them.
Right.
So for the individuals that are trying to do it on their own, what are some additional benefits of working with someone like yourself?
Right. The number one benefit, to me, in my opinion, is that you don't have to learn anything new. You simply send your money over through our website or through Cash App, through Zelle, however you decide to pay, and you don't have to learn anything new. We keep you updated. We're planning on doing some classes a little later down the line to where we can kind of educate on crypto, just a little bit of education. So if anybody do ask you, you know what you're investing in. But that's the main thing to me.
And as far as things from a tax perspective, is this something that you get a report for that you can give to your CPA or your accountant?
Right, great question. So yes, if you do make money, or when you make money with us, you do have to report it on your taxes, your state taxes, and I believe it's about 7%.
Okay.
Yep.
And then just from an overall cap standpoint, is there a cutoff point?
Not at all. We have some people that's been invested with us for over a year. You know, just their money just sitting there. We have some people that pull their money out every month, kind of created a salary for themselves monthly. And then we have some people where they every 2 weeks when they get their paychecks, they add a little more money in there.
That was my next question. So I wanted to know how that works. If someone puts the 1,000 in and then they gain additional funds and they pull money out, but they leave that original 1,000 in,
Right.
and then every month they can keep adding more?
Yep.
Wow.
So you can add money whenever you want. We do our withdrawals at the end of every month.
Okay.
Yep. And as you add more money, it just makes your money compound faster.
Wow, that makes sense, right?
Yep.
Because there's more of a pool to work with,
Exactly,
right?
yep.
So the more you put in there, the more
you-
it's working for you,
Yep,
right?
absolutely.
Absolutely. What advice do you have for those who are kind of apprehensive about this whole crypto process?
Right. The main advice I can give is do your own research. Like anything else, you know, to get where I'm at now, I had to read books. I had to get on YouTube, look stuff up, you know, just doing your own research. And the best lessons are learned in blood. You know, what that means is your best lessons are learned by taking losses. You know, so study, do your own research, and that's pretty much it as far as advice goes for.
As a business owner too, what has been your best learning lesson throughout all of this?
I think the best lesson is taking the opportunity. You know, if the opportunity is there, taking it. Just, you know, if you can't do as much, just do something. You know, taking the opportunity and self-education. You know, to me, nothing else is better than self-education and consistency. You know, they teach in school, we learn. Well, in school, they teach us not to fail. You know, it's wrong to fail. But in life, you learn your best lessons by failing. So taking that opportunity, there's never going to be a perfect time. You know, if the opportunity is there, jump out there and take it.
What I've learned is sometimes it's best not to say a whole lot at all
Yes, Lord.
when people are going through, because you can mean
Yes,
well,
yes.
but you can say the worst thing, trying to be deep and trying to be retrospective.
Yes.
So, but for what could somebody who's going through something say to somebody and say, well, yeah, you just got to kind of move on.
Oftentimes they're uncomfortable with where you are, and that has more to do with them than it does you.
Dear moms and dads, we know it's not always been easy, and it's been a lot of hard work. What you have achieved here today is going to help us and our futures. It is why we are coming up on stage to collect your diplomas.
Everything I do it for you.
Mom, love you all.
No, it's true. Everything I do it for
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
We got a Southern classic. We're going with some fried green tomatoes. Cornmeal mixture. Let's cover it up.
People will share their testimonies and stories about having purchased a home. And then they'll pull equity, maybe purchase a duplex. And then they'll rent that out and start making more money. And they're taking equity out of that and they're buying a small building that has multiple units. Could you kind of bring that to life for us a little bit?
Yeah, even though you have a house, if you have equity in it, you can utilize that equity to go and do other things with it. Don't look at it as being overwhelmed. I tell the entrepreneurs, just have a partner like a realtor that knows the steps, and we'll be there to walk you through every single step of the process.
One of Dr. Gino's strengths in his preaching to me is his ability to situate the listener.
Transition is hard. In fact, I dare say that it's one of the most difficult things to do. And I mean, in a real sense, it is so hard that in one it produces fear.
You pick an image that we all can relate to. What do you love most about your practice of African American preaching? Go.
My practice of African American preaching is steeped in Zora Neale Hurston's Negro expression. When we sing a song, it's sung a lot differently. When we do a dance, it's done a lot differently. When we preach a sermon, it's done a lot differently because we take it through our struggle and we adorn it and beautify it. And we've had to dare to find God and mine hope so that we might be able to know that the trouble that we go through doesn't last always.
For those that are concerned about the longevity of all this, will it be around in 2 years or 5 years? What's your perspective on that?
It's been around for 10 years and growing. You know, every other day there's like a new coin coming out. So to me, I believe it's going to be around forever.
Okay.
Yep.
And with some of the earnings that you've made, what are some of the ways that it's made you have more financial freedom?
Right. So to me, it's an asset. I've been able to take money from this and start other businesses. You know, take money from this and invest in real estate and stuff like that, to where I'm really just buying time. You know.
Let's shift gears and talk about real estate a little bit, because I've had bankers on the show, I've had realtors on the show, I've had real estate developers on the show, and one underlying factor is always real estate. So when you think about that path to financial freedom, what role does real estate play in that path?
I believe it plays a huge role. I read a book that said one thing that most, we'll just say rich people have in common is real estate. It's one of the safest investments you can make, because if you buy a house, the house is there. It's going to be there regardless. Rent always goes up. Your mortgage stays the same. So I believe it's something that most people making money have in common is real estate.
And it's funny because one of the guests actually shared that exact same quote. And just from a real estate investment perspective, for those who are thinking about maybe getting into crypto and using it to build those funds, to leverage that, to roll into potential real estate, what advice do you have for them on getting started with their real estate journey?
Getting started, you know, again, it goes back to doing your own research. And, you know, my wife is actually a realtor, so that's kind of how we got into real estate and stuff like that. And, you know, everything for me is doing your own research. You know, that way, if you do make a mistake, you know where you made that mistake at, and you just get back to it.
And do many of your clients reinvest into real estate from
Absolutely.
what you know?
Absolutely. So we do fix and flips with my business partner, Orlando Edwards, which is hence the name Edwards Jones Capital Investments. So with Orlando, you know, he does fix and flips and stuff like that. And most people do end up reinvesting on that side of the business.
And for those who aren't familiar with the fix and flip, if they're not watching a lot of HGTV like me, what is a fix and flip?
So a fix and flip is basically you buying a house at a low price, you putting a little money into it to fix it up wherever it might need to be fixed up, and you're putting it back on the market in a quick period of time, usually about 2 to 3 months.
And how much does someone usually need to get started with something like that?
So honestly, it depends. You know, we found some stuff down in Griffin, Georgia, for about $20,000, and been able to, you know, make about $70,000 just off of fixing up the floors, the cabinets, the doors, stuff like that. So it honestly depends on which area you're in and how much capital you're working with and how much capital you're trying to make.
So kitchens and bathrooms, right?
Yep.
And basements, if you have basements, right?
Yep.
But definitely the kitchens and the bathrooms. Now, when you think about things as a businessman and from a strategic thinking perspective, when you're doing the fix and flips, you build a team, right?
Right, absolutely.
Because I'm assuming that you can't do it all on your own.
Right.
And you mentioned your business partner, but when you brought in that endeavor of pursuing the fix and flips, talk about how you formulated that team, because you needed contractors,
right.
you needed painters, you needed
right.
builders. How did that work?
Right. So work with people you trust. We had to look up, credibility is everything. If you can show me some work you've done and how you did this property for this person or whatever, I believe credibility is everything. Mm-hmm. Just being able to trust that person. Just like my business partner, Orlando, we had to build that relationship. I have another partner, Carl Wilkins, who works with us on the crypto arbitrage. We had to build that relationship. He came down here from Orlando and met with me and my family. We went out to eat and stuff like that. So you have to put that work in to build the actual relationship of getting to know the person you're working with or the team that you're going to be working with.
For someone that's new to relationship building, maybe it just didn't play a vital role in their life. Maybe it just wasn't really required quite as much. And I know in entrepreneurship, it definitely is.
Right.
What advice do you have for those as it relates to enhancing their skills to improve relationship building?
I would say just trust yourself. To me, Orlando asked me this the other day, what was the number one thing that I feel like got us to where we are? And it's relationships. Mm-hmm. If I didn't know you, I wouldn't be on this stage. It's all about who you know in life. And to me, that's the benefit of, just being able to move around and do what you want is getting to know people. If you have a hard time, there's social media. There's so many different ways now of getting to know different people. So I would just say, just take one of those avenues and just understand that this plays a huge role in your future. Who you know plays a huge role in where you go.
Yes, and let's talk a little bit about social media, because it's funny, when you reached out to me on social media, it reminded me Joe Jones would be great for this show.
Right.
And there's so many people that we all know as entrepreneurs that sometimes it's just hard to stay top of mind. And I think that social media is a fantastic way for people to stay top of mind.
Yeah. So education is a requirement. So even though I dropped out and all that fun stuff, it's one of those things where I say, no, still go to school, because had I not gone to school, I wouldn't have all the opportunities that I have now.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time Shiro to all of us. You nurture, we listen. You teach, we thrive. You lift our spirits, but we've got to lay down the truth. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. A free online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Start saving more for retirement so you can feel prepared and live your life to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
You missed one of your clients. I don't know why I was not contacted for that research. I need to be a part of it because I have a problem sleeping. So I need to get into your study so I can find out what I need to do.
When you think about financial freedom. How have you leveraged social media to expand your business on your pursuit of financial freedom?
I believe social media plays a huge role in how I've been able to meet so many people. I mean, just different investors that, I don't even know personally. So I believe using social media the right way it glorifies your business and everything that you're doing, because it's a free network. Almost like when we were growing up, kind of like commercials, but it's just huge, and you never know who's watching. So I always try to stay positive on social media. Always try to feed my mind positive things as well.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. You never know who's watching on social media or in life, and it's just vital to project positivity so that you can encourage others when you have that platform, right?
Absolutely.
So I'd like to shift gears a little bit as it relates to really developing how you want to approach building a business in a different area. So you hear a lot about fintech, right? Financial technology.
Absolutely.
And with you all having a website where people can check the status of how their investments are performing, does that fall under the fintech format?
Yes, ma'am.
And from a scalability factor, Atlanta is a hot spot and hub for startups, for MarTech, for fintech. There's so many grant opportunities, so many funding opportunities, incubators, pitch competitions, right? Have you leveraged any of those resources in Atlanta to help grow your business?
Not necessarily in Atlanta. We have done some crowdfunding through certain websites to where, we've had people invest in us that way. I haven't so much been able to, leverage any of them in Atlanta just yet. However, we are putting something together to where we can, just go around to those different companies and shop stuff around as well.
Yes, and for me, from the marketing perspective, I really enjoy helping companies put together those pitch decks. So that they can sell what they have to offer to those investors and to those companies. Really, we also offer supplier readiness, so making sure that they're ready for any type of large company in their procurement department, and that's on the modern creative marketing side. But when you think about going back to scalability as it relates to crowdfunding, you need money to scale, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you started with crowdfunding so that you would have that capital that you needed to grow the business. Now, I've been doing a lot of research on different ways to fund a business because I'd like to continue to scale mine as well. Let's talk about crowdfunding and what it is for people who don't understand it. What is crowdfunding?
So I believe the easiest way to explain crowdfunding would be GoFundMe. I feel like a lot of people know what GoFundMe is. So GoFundMe, you put up an ad or whatever you have going on. A lot of people put up, on GoFundMe when they have emergencies. And people look and read what you have going on, and they send you money through GoFundMe.
And there are a lot of different platforms that people can use, right? If they just type in crowdfunding. I know there was one I signed up for maybe a week or two ago that was specific to women. But same concept, you're basically utilizing a platform to build awareness with your audience and extended audience around what it is you want to get started, how it's going to help others, and how they can contribute to the growth of the company. Now, just in talking a little bit more about crowdfunding and scalability, I think with a crowdfund campaign, you can't just post it on social media, right? You actually need a marketing strategy behind that so you can get it out in front of more people, right?
Absolutely.
So how many times have you done crowdfunding?
So I've done crowdfunding. This is probably my third time doing it with 3 different businesses. We've done some bootstrapping, meaning, we raise our own capital. But this is the third time we've done crowdfunding, But before that crowdfunding, you have to do, I always tell people to do what you can while you can. So before you get to that stage, do your business plan, do your research, your marketing, all that. Get all that stuff together that you can while you can. Even if you don't have the funds right away, just keep working. So that way, when the time comes, you're ready for the opportunity.
And people are going to have questions, right?
Exactly.
So you have to be able to
Exactly.
clearly explain what you're doing and what problem it solves,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
And that's why I like doing those pitch decks, right?
Right.
But when you think about going back to some of the other sources of funding, this could be a source of funding, really, for a business if they stuck with it,
Yep.
right, consistently.
Yep. EJ Capital definitely can be a source of funding because, like we said earlier, if you put $1,000 in, you're gonna make $400 a month. If you put $10,000 in, you're gonna make $4,000 a month. So it's definitely a valuable source of income if you want to join us and put your money in and let us do the work for you.
Absolutely. And I just know as an entrepreneur, we're always looking for ways to make extra money.
Exactly.
So what do you think is the next step for you as it relates to financial freedom? What would you like to achieve? It doesn't necessarily have to be a number, but what would be the next step for you?
The next step, I believe, is just continuing to help other people grow. We want to reach a point to where we can say we help 500 people grow their capital. So I believe that's my goal in life, is just to continue helping other people, and just to remind people it's not so much about the money as it is about the freedom. Like just being free, not having to go to a job 8 hours and stuff like that. I love when people come to us or do testimonies and just say, how we help them build an extra salary or just having extra funds for a vacation, stuff like that. So I think just continuing to bring people up, and we want to reach that 500 mark.
And having a family that's entrepreneurs, how has that been fabulous for your family to have that financial freedom and flexibility?
Man, it's been awesome. My 14-year-old son has an account where he's literally on it all day at school, just watching the money grow, so it's been awesome. And just seeing it installed in my kids early, because I know the earlier you install it in them, the longer it'll stick with them,
So let's talk a little bit about kids really quick before we kind of wrap up our conversation. Is this easy to understand for kids, the concept?
Absolutely. Yep, my son kind of started playing around with Forex and stuff when he was 12, about 2 years ago. But with this platform, it's simple because you just put your money in and allow us to do the work for you.
So this could be a fun activity for families too.
Right, absolutely. We have a lot of families that, joined us, and their kids talk to my kids, and, they're just excited because they're making money while they're asleep.
Yes, and what better way to learn about financial freedom? It's like a video game that actually generates money, right?
Exactly.
Well, Joe, it has been a true pleasure having you on the show. We have learned about crypto, we've learned about investing, we've learned about crowdfunding, and just overall some additional ways that we can improve our flexibility and get closer to financial freedom. So where can we find your company online?
So our website is ejcapitalinvestments.com.
All right, ejcapitalinvestments.com.
Yes, ma'am.
And what are your social media? Are you on Facebook?
Yep, so it's the same thing on Facebook if you search that. And then my number is 757-348-4990. Just text INVEST, and we'll get somebody over on the phone with you ASAP.
All right, well, thank you very much, Joe. It's a pleasure having you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.